Hello, good evening. Friday night. Am I right? Happy end of the week. Good to be with you. I'm Jeff Belanger. Welcome to the Speakeasy. And of course, a reminder, if you're watching, please start your watch parties, share, like, all that kind of fun stuff so our friends can join us here because there's never a cover and we don't card anybody. It's here we can all drink alone together. Love that. So tonight is one of my favorite types of shows. We've done this a couple times before and totally my favorite now. You are the guest. You guys, you're going to be calling in, I hope, sharing your stories. You have every other time. And we'll just chat. We'll chat about what's going on in your life. We'll have a drink. Tonight I'm having Narragansett. Hey, neighbor, grab a Gansett. Narragansett lager. Very New England of me, I know. What are you guys drinking? Check on in. And now I'm getting a phone call. Should I just take it and see who that is? Oh, that's spam. Listen. Can you hear it?
Hello. This is an apology call from your electric utility.
An apology call from my electric utility. I think that's a junk call. So tonight we're going to be sharing stories about all kinds of stuff. Yes, happy 4th of July weekend. That's really cool. Time to celebrate our country. No matter how you're feeling about it right now, like it's still worth celebrating. If you live in the United States, I know we got lots of people checking in from the UK and so on. And if you're checking in from the UK, sorry about Independence Day. Am I right? I'm totally right. My friend Carl in the UK has one of my haunted New England calendars, and someone sent it over and said, "Would you please autograph it?" And I did. And he sent me a picture today. I had completely forgotten something I did. He sent me a photograph of July 4th. Keep in mind, Carl is in England, and on July 4th it says Independence Day because most of our people who buy the calendar are in America. And I just wrote sorry about that, and I pointed down to Independence Day on July 4th. So there's that. Good to see you, Tim. Brenda's got Tito soda, 2 lemons. Very well. Morning coffee in Australia. Carol, no problem. And no shame in Irishing up that coffee if you got to do it. So, so tonight we're going to be having you guys. Hatch is having a Mike's Hard cranberry lemonade. Ooh, very New England of you. Well done. And Nina just finished her margarita. But Nina, no one likes to quit her, so go ahead and pour another one. And Sarah from Wales. No, that's Amanda. Anyway. So, hope you guys will share some stories. I'm going to start with one of my own. Then we'll open up the phone lines and we'll just see wherever it goes. Whatever you guys want to do. This is your show tonight. I'm just the guy driving the bus. I'll take you wherever you want to go. So I wanted to talk about another ghost experience I had. I already shared the one I had about in the catacombs of Paris. This one happened to me in Louisville, Kentucky. Gosh, years ago. It was the very first time I went to a place called Waverly Hills Sanatorium. There it is back in its glory day. It was built in 1910, and it was a facility for people with consumption or tuberculosis. And I mean, I think it was 400 patient rooms and just an impressive building. And the first time I went there, I remember walking up to the grounds and it looked like this because I took this photo, like this giant batwing building, right? All the windows are gone up there and it's just this open, abandoned place. And I'm what they call psychically insensitive. I don't really feel things, but the first time I walked inside this building, I just remember going like, whoa, this place is haunted, like legit haunted. Very scary. So I walked in, I'm walking around and the feeling was like, the feeling you're being watched. This felt crowded. It felt like I walked into like a busy mall at Christmas, like just people everywhere, but it was just a few of us. Back when it was in operation as a tuberculosis hospital, the treatment for patients was more or less fresh air. So they would push you out in your bed and you would be getting fresh air. And that included in the wintertime or whatever. And that's how people were treated. And today it looks a little more like this, very similar hallway. And it kind of takes your breath away. And all I could think about as I'm walking through this building is imagine coughing coming from every room around you 24 hours a day, just coughing as people are gasping for breath because consumption just eats away at your lungs. Very frightening illness. Horribly. It's still a huge global killer. Still is to this day. So I'm walking around and it was late and we're up on the 3rd floor, just about where this picture was taken. There were 4 of us and we're right at where there's a bend in the hallway where you can look way down this hallway, way down that hallway. And we're talking about nothing. I mean, just it's 1 a.m. We'd been going for hours, but the place still felt electric. And we're just chatting, and suddenly we all stop at the same time. And I said, "Did you just see that?" They said, "You mean the man that just stepped out of the door, like 3 doors down on the left?" I went, "Uh-huh." So we raced to that door. I mean, we're there. I mean, it's 15, 20 feet. We're there in seconds. And we're looking all through, right? Like we were the only ones on this whole wing of the building. And we're looking around and we get to the door. There's no one there. Here's the thing. Had that been a living person, there was nowhere for them to go other than into the hallway where we were, which we would have seen, or jump out the 3rd-story window, which we would have heard. It was so strange. All of us saw it. Looked like a man. Like I would even go so far as to call him a doctor, though I couldn't make out any hard features. He just stepped out into the hall and then he was gone. It was crazy. I'll never forget it. All of us saw it too. And I don't buy into like mass hallucinations. So one of those things I'll never forget there at Waverly. Something else. I meant to do a shameless plug in the beginning. I kind of forgot. Forgive me. I've got a bunch of virtual programs coming up. There's some dates and times. You can see, don't worry about the location because that doesn't affect you because these are all taking place via Zoom meeting. All of them are free. So if you would like to attend, and I also tell different stories every time. So I'm always switching this up. Go to my website, jeffbelanger.com, and you can find out how to link and register for these things. And you can attend for free from wherever you are. And I'll share some stories with you about strange New England. So yeah, good. All right, so I'm going to open up the phone lines, and I've got to open that. There we go. 617-444-9683 +1 for the United States if you're calling from internationally. And yes, never go in July. That's so true about Waverly for sure. It's very hot out there, and late at night you've got like the jets landing and taking off from the airport. High top fade sour from Canned Heat. Wow, Colleen, that sounds pretty good. I've never had that. Carol King, my goodness, your birthday's tomorrow, which is Independence Day where we are. Okay, well, happy birthday. Born on the 4th of July. Suzette, Diet Coke. Come on, you can do better than that. But I appreciate that you're here. And yeah, happy 4th to all you folks who are in this country, and sorry to our friends in the UK. Waverly, never not had an experience when we've been 8 times, Kathleen. Well done. Yeah, I've been 3 times. I only had that first time it was just the whole building was electric. But after that, I can tell you, like, I wanted something to happen. I was going in all the same places, but lightning did not strike twice for me. So who's going to be first? Who's going to call? 617-444-9683. Don't be shy. We're just going to talk and hang out and do all that stuff. Eric Altman, thank you for saying hi. Happy 4th to you, buddy. You were just on the show last week, I think it was, but not too long ago, and it was good to talk to you. Stacy, do you have a story to share? North Adams, Mass. I had a doppelganger walking around. Oh my God, I think I remember that. Stacy, call in and share it. That would be cool. 617-444-9683 is the number. And love to hear from you. Cheers. Oh, that's good. It's been a week. I've been working on a lot of house projects, trying to get those done for the summer because, I'm going to be stuck here a lot. So I might as well try to make things look nice, paint things and fix things that needed fixing, all that stuff. So there's good. John, first timer here. Well, welcome. If you got a story to share, you can call in. Once they start going, boy, it's tough to shut you folks up. So I'm eager. Who will be our first brave caller? It's got a story to share. 617-444-9683. The thing about paranormal experiences, ghosts especially, when you have a ghost experience, I feel like it sort of changes your very DNA, because that very big question of, is there life after death, gets answered for you, at least for you on an individual basis. And you don't forget it. And you now have to come to grips with what that means. I saw what I believe to be a ghost, whether it was grandma after she passed away, or, just someone in a historic building, or someone walking by and then they were gone. You got to come to grips with that. Other types of encounters, like UFO sightings or whatever, totally profound as well. But sometimes you're just kind of left scratching your head. We've got our first caller. from the 603 area code. Hello, welcome aboard. That is New Hampshire. Am I right? Did I guess right?
That is New Hampshire.
Yay, New Hampshire. What's your name? Where are you from?
Stacy, Robert, Salem.
Hi, Stacy from Salem, New Hampshire, not far from Salem, Massachusetts, and home to America's Stonehenge.
You got it.
Yeah, what's going on tonight?
Oh, I was just thinking of a story. We went on, I believe it was the Wharton Mansion. It was one of those.
Oh, the Houghton Mansion. Houghton Mansion.
Houghton, that's it.
Yes, in North Adams,
It
Mass.
was one of those legend trips.
Yep.
Yep. We did we wound up seeing a couple things that night. It was really cool. We were down in the basement.
Okay, hold on, Stacy. I'm going to hold you right there. Let's set up the Houghton Mansion. It's in North Adams. It's at the time we were there, it was a Masonic hall, a big one, and home of one of the most tragic ghost stories in all of New England. John Witters, the chauffeur for AC Houghton, was driving AC's daughter and some family friends up to Pownall, Vermont, which is just a few miles north, and the car flipped over. AC's daughter died. The next morning, Witters shoots himself because he's just so distraught. Even though it was ruled a total accident, he just, he was so distraught. He killed himself. AC Houghton dies a week later. It's just this broken-hearted, tragic story, and haunted. And people are talking about it again and again. Stacy, please take it from there. I just wanted to give a little backstory.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yep.
We had been in the basement at that point, and we were doing some different EVP sessions and things like that, walking around. And we had gotten to one point where by the stairs that go up to the first floor, and we kept hearing a noise. So we're all standing in that hallway looking towards the back room. There was a far back room that had one of those massive old furnaces.
Right.
I actually have a picture of it, like a Victorian furnace. The thing was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And
it looked like the thing out of Freddy Krueger, right? That old.
Like you would slide a body into
Yeah.
or something like that.
Easily slide a body. Yeah.
I think that's one of my Halloween photos that I took that I put up every now and then.
Yeah.
But we're in that hallway looking back there, and there's actually, I think, a water heater that's down there because it has a little flashing red light that would light up the hallway every so often as it's going on. And we were all standing there, and when the flashing light lit up the hallway, there was a silhouette of somebody there. And then, of course, the flashing light goes off, and we're in pitch black again, and we're all kind of looking at each other like, did anybody else see that? Because everybody else is behind us.
Wow. Yeah, that's
So
cool,
that
right?
was one of them. We never wound up getting a picture of that, but that was one of them. And then the other thing that happened is we were up in the front room, which was kind of like a library sitting room area.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, it has a ton of windows all around. So every time a car would go by, you'd get light play and things like that. So we just kind of sat up there, and we were, I believe I was with Amy and her husband at that point, and we were just up there, EVPs, just looking around, doing some different things. And I look over my right shoulder, and I thought it was you standing against the bookcase. And average size, you're a little on the tall side.
Average?
Your shoulders were at the top.
How dare you? Right.
Your shoulders were at about the top of the bookcase, and I swore it was you, just out of the corner of my eye, just the way you were leaning, and you were kind of walking between all the rooms, listening to everybody.
Yeah.
As things were happening and popping in and giving history and things like that. So we kind of saw you there, didn't think anything of it, kept doing what we were doing, and then at one point you walked in the other side of the room, and you just kind of said, "Hey, how's it going?" as you walked in the room, and we're all looking at each other, and we all just turn around, and there's nobody against the bookcase.
You saw the ghost of me.
But it was all three of us swore it was you.
Yeah, that's cool.
We really, really swore it was you. That was a really cool night.
Stacy, was Dave Schrader with us that night?
I think he was.
Okay, because
Dustin was there that night because you, Dustin, and I don't know if Tim was with us that night or not. I can't remember. But you and Dustin cooked breakfast the next morning because we all.
Oh, right. We slept on the floor. That was good times.
Yeah.
No, I remember that. Yeah, that place is really something. Like it always has something to say. It feels like, but yeah, very cool.
It's a really cool place.
Yeah.
Really, really cool place. So that's the story.
Thank you, Stacy. Thanks for calling. Good hearing from you.
You too. Take care.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care. All right, we'll open the lines back up. So if you call and it goes right to voicemail or someone's already on the line, just wait until like now. And then we open the lines again at +1 for the US, 617-444-9683. If someone else wants to call in and share a story. Amanda asked the question, do you believe sleep paralysis is tied to ghosts and the paranormal? That's a great question, Amanda. There are a lot of theories around sleep paralysis. Some people think it's an alien abduction. Some people think it's a demonic attack. Some people think it's a hypnagogic hallucination tied with temporary sleep paralysis. And it all comes down to the person going through it. I do believe when we're asleep and in a prone state that we are a little more open to whatever might be out there and maybe a little more tuned in than when we're awake and hustling and bustling. So I do think sleep in general might be a little more tied to the paranormal. Sleep paralysis is this funky thing because every 90 minutes when you're sleeping, your body is naturally paralyzed. It's a normal function of sleep. You're paralyzed, you can't move, and sometimes you do wake up in the middle of that, and your brain hasn't sent the signal yet to your body that it's okay, and it's petrifying because you're like, I'm awake, I'm wide awake, I can't move anything, and then it's over and you're moving again. So yeah, for some people, it's combined with like some kind of vision or whatever, and it can be quite frightening. For most, it just lasts maybe like 5, 10, 15 seconds. Some people claim it can go on for minutes. I've even heard some people say it goes on for hours, which just must be petrifying. And Amanda says it's happened to her, but you're too shy to call in, I guess. I guess you're too shy, but that's okay. Happened to you. One time it felt like someone was pushing down on me. Yeah. So old hag syndrome is this another term for it, where you literally feel like some force is pushing down on your chest and then it's hard to breathe. And of course you're scared. So yeah, really, really interesting stuff. Sleep paralysis. We don't fully understand sleep yet, which is amazing, right? We know we need it. We know it's critical for all kinds of things, to repair your body, to store long-term memories. There's so much involved with sleeping, but we don't really fully understand it. But God knows we need it. Cheers. Hey, we have a call. I was just going to have a sip of beer. All right, let's take the call. Hello from the 505 area code. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, Jasper. My name's Crystal, and I am calling from El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas. Would you like me to sing the Marty Robbins song out in the West Texas town of El Paso?
No, that's okay. I've actually been to that bar.
But maybe everyone else wants to hear it. Gosh, you're a little selfish, but that's okay. What's going on in El Paso tonight?
Nothing, but I was calling to tell you about a UFO story.
Cool, please.
The little one. So it was about last year in the middle of August, and I was driving by myself from El Paso, Texas, up 54 north to Colorado.
Okay.
And it's the middle of the night, because I like to drive when it's not hot. And so it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's a full moon. So the lighting outside was bright. You know, even though it's in the middle of nowhere and it's the desert, it was very, very bright. And out of nowhere, a ball of fire just appeared in the sky.
Wow.
And there's no buildings, there's no planes, there's no towers, there's nothing. It was a full moon. There was nothing under it or over it. It was just a gigantic ball of fire. And I started freaking out. And then I must have blinked or turned away, but when I looked back, there was another one right next to it. So I don't know if it appeared out of the first one or if it shot up from somewhere or down, but there was 2 of them. And then they just disappeared.
Were you alone in the car?
I was alone.
Okay.
And I start freaking out. And I call my husband, and I'm telling him this. And I'm explaining exactly what I just said. And then they appeared again while I was on the phone with him. 1 ball and then 1 right next to it.
Wow.
And I'm like seriously flipping out. And there was a car on the side of the road. It was a white Volkswagen, and there was a man standing outside of it, and he had I'm assuming is his phone pointing at those lights, like a ball of fire. So I wasn't the only one that saw it. Someone else saw it too, but they were brave enough to pull over, and I wasn't about to do that.
Yeah. So when was this? I mean, you said it was summer, but like, was it last summer or?
It was last summer.
Oh, wow. Okay. So not that long ago.
So, yeah, no. And I was like paranormal forums and stuff to try and see if I could find somebody in the middle of August that saw that same thing, because somebody was out there taking pictures and videotaping it.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't that cool, right? So now we live in a time when everybody's armed with a video camera, and when weird stuff happens, lots of us start filming. So very cool. Hey, well, I appreciate you.
like, now's not the time to get affected, so I did not stop.
Right. No, I get it. And you don't know what it is. It's unidentified, right? You don't know if that's friend or foe.
Yeah. And I just kept thinking of that movie Fire in the Sky. So that's kind of like a ball of fire.
Travis Walton, of course, the Travis Walton story. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe someone will hear it and say, wait, I saw that too. And we'll all get connected.
Thank you, Jeff. Have a good night.
You too. Have a great night. Thanks. Awesome. Okay. Yes. Some of you have said you called and got a recording. So I can only take one call at a time, and it's just me operating everything. I'm like your truck driver tonight. That's also the mechanic. So the lines are open again at 617-444-9683. If someone's already on the line, it's going to go right to voicemail. So now they are open. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. I'd love to hear from you. Love for you to share your story like other people are doing. It brings us together, doesn't it? Like when you hear this stuff and it's just, I love it. Driving in the middle of the night, you see something weird, and then it gets weirder, and someone else saw it too. And we're talking about that because we don't have all the answers, but sharing these stories, I think, leads us a little closer to coming together about it. And that's important. It's really important. So yeah. Oh, the Spooky Sisters have a UK imp story. My God. Yes, please. I love that. Someone's saying it's hard to hear the callers. Don't be shy about turning up your volume because it's tough to get this stuff regulated just right. We got a call. Yay. Hold on. Hello from the 432 area code. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, this is Amanda Lawson.
Hello, Amanda. Hold on. I've got to disconnect this other person. Please call back. Please call back, whoever that is. Okay, go ahead. Amanda, talk to me. You're the one with sleep paralysis, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me the first time it happened to you. What happened?
Well, the first time we moved into this new house about 5 or 6 years ago,
Mhm.
kind of out in the country, and I woke up and I felt this pressure pushing down on my body, more specifically my chest,
Right.
into the bed. And even though I was, my eyes were awake and I felt like I knew what was going on, I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, there was nothing I could do about it.
That's pretty classic case, right? So some people would call that old hag syndrome. And the reason it's called that is because they believe they're being attacked by the old hag, where they wake up, you're conscious of where you are, right? You know, you're in your bedroom, in your bed, right?
Right.
And lying on your back, correct?
Right.
Most often happens on your back, not for people who sleep on their sides or stomach. And then some people will see something coming toward them, and then they'll feel this pressure on their chest, as if like the old hag is sitting on your chest trying to squeeze the air out of you. Super frightening. How long do you think it lasted?
Oh, well, at the time, it felt like forever.
Yeah, right.
And then it happened a few more times where I woke up out of a bad dream and I didn't feel the pressure or anything, but I felt like I couldn't. I woke up out of a bad dream and nothing. I couldn't vocalize. I couldn't move.
Yep.
I couldn't do anything about it.
That's the paralysis. And so when this happens, are you getting good rest before it happens, or are you sort of having not great sleep for, previous nights?
It's off and on.
Okay. Because sometimes the pattern,
Sure.
it seems to affect people, especially if you nap late in the day or early in the morning. That can screw you up. If you're not getting good, consistent rest, some people are more prone to it. And then some people are just prone to it, and we don't fully understand why. But it's super frightening when it happens. Have you besides the shortness of breath, have you had any other experiences? Have you seen anything or heard anything?
No, I haven't seen or heard. I work an 8-to-5 job.
Okay.
So this has been the only experience since I've moved where I'm at for 5 years, and it's kind of, of course, obviously, it's shaking me a bit.
Yeah. When's the last time it's
And
happened?
you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't move, you can't talk. If I have my daughter, if she's scared in the middle of the night, she sneaks in with me, and she's next to me. There's nothing I can do, and then all these, like, I can think, so all these thoughts are going through my head as to what can I do,
Right.
if something happens.
Yeah, that's the scariest, right? When you've got your kid with you and you want to protect.
Right.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Frightening. When's the last time this happened to you?
It's been about 9-10 months ago.
Okay. Well,
it's happened 4 or 5 times.
okay. And well, I mean,
I have no idea if it's tied to the paranormal or if it's just tied to, the normal brain psychology,
yeah,
kind of, I'm trying to say.
I do. So let's say this. If that's the only thing going on that's strange, let's call it brain psychology thing, right? And physiology thing. If you want to understand a little more about it, I would suggest all you need is a notebook and a pen and keep it by your bed and make note when it happens and try to just jot down, like, the day, the time, who's with you. Have you had good rest recently? Have you been eating okay? Did you have caffeine late at night? I know it's all sounds weird and like I'm talking like your mother or something,
Right.
but at the same time, you may find a pattern that helps you sort of decode, like, oh man, it happens to me on Monday nights when I've been staying up late Friday and Saturday.
Right.
I didn't get, like, you might find a pattern and be able to
Right.
sort of rule out. I would not start with the paranormal if that's all that's happening, because it does happen to lots of people. Like upwards of 40% of people have experienced sleep paralysis, and that's not all paranormal. That's sometimes just a little synapse misfire. It shouldn't be dangerous, especially if it's happening like once a year. It's just sort of like an inconvenience, but a frightening one, of course. But
right. And of course you see the movies where you see things happening and
yeah,
you can't move or do anything about it.
yeah, I know, super scary. But when
Yeah.
when it's happening, but yeah, and it's and strange too, right? Like we're paralyzed when we sleep. That's like the craziest thing. All of us. That's a normal part of sleeping. But very good. Well, thank you for calling in and sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. Have a great night. Thanks.
You too. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, sleep paralysis. All right, the phone lines are back open, 617-444-9683. Sleep paralysis is one of those things where if people are really into aliens, I've heard people tell the same story and say, I think it was an alien abduction. I think there was a gray coming toward me and used, telepathy to paralyze me and try to abduct me. And someone else might say, no, that's a demonic attack. Someone else says it's just, a brain misfire. As I said to Amanda, I think if this is all that's going on, let's just call it an inconvenience and try to look for a pattern, because it does happen. It happens to lots of us. And I don't know. I don't think we should jump to paranormal conclusions unless we've ruled out everything else. But I really appreciate sharing that story, because I think a lot of folks can relate to it. Yes. As Carol says, lack of sleep causes madness. So true. And anyone who's been, I don't know, a parent can attest to that. I remember the first few months of my daughter's life, just, when you're sleeping just 2 hours here and 1 hour there, you lose your brain. You're just, right? It's the worst thing ever. The Geneva Convention says that sleep deprivation is a form of torture. And I'm convinced that parents helped write the Geneva Convention, because it is a form of torture for sure. All right, who's next? 617-444-9683. We had an 860 call before, but I had to click over and I apologize. That was Connecticut. If you want to call back and try again. Yeah, I love talking to you guys. This is great. I appreciate so much when you call in and bear a little bit of yourself, and because I get it. It's a brave thing to do, right? To get on the phone and call and have everybody listen in to what happened to you. And but I think you're among friends here, right? There's no judgment. It's just sharing a story, and let's sort of take it for what it is and understand that weird stuff happens to lots of us. But it's the weird stuff that gives us a story to tell. You know what I mean? Good stuff. Good stuff. I've brought musical instruments in the past, as a lot of you know. I've played the didgeridoo for you. I've played the guitar for you. But tonight, I thought as kind of a special treat, this is a rain stick, and I'm the best rain stick player in this house. The only rain stick player. Yeah. Feel that jam, right? We're jamming. Oh, come on. Tim's going to call in and ask how I get my great hair looks today. I showered before I went on because I've been dirty working on outside stuff all day. All day. Good to hear from you, Tim. I'm glad you're here too. Yeah. So what else is going on with you guys? Call and tell me. 617-444-9683. And we'll chat. We'll talk about stuff. Right on cue. Thanks. Who do we got? Hello from the 860, which of course is Northern Connecticut. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, Jeff. This is Jamie Middleton.
Hey,
Other Middleton.
the other Middleton. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you today?
I'm sitting on a rainbow, my man. What's going on?
Nice. So I have a story that Lauren has loved for years. I've been telling her since we first got together. It's kind of an entertaining story, and she thought it might be a good one for you.
All right, I'm ready. Lay it on.
Okay. So years ago, when I first got out of college, I moved into my first apartment, and the landlord was the local mailman.
Okay.
So when we first moved in, it was a duplex, and he had just bought the place. So he started to tell us a story about how the reason that he had bought the house was he used to deliver the mail to these two sisters who lived in the house. There was a sister who lived upstairs, which is where we were, and then there was a sister that lived downstairs. So they had lived in this apartment house for probably 80 years. And then unfortunately, the downstairs sister passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So when the downstairs sister passed away, the family of the other sister decided it was time to move her to a home. And so they ended up selling the house. And he had purchased the house and was going to use it as a rental property. So I was listening and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So when we're moving in, it was right out of college. I had very little stuff. I think I had a couch and a bed at the time.
Right.
And so he said, no.
The milk crate shelves, stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Borrowing VHS tapes from the library, things like that.
I remember.
100%.
Yeah. Right.
So he said to us, hey, I have the television from the downstairs sister. And if you would like it, you can have it for $20. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is one of those big old late 80s, early 90s ones that was built into a cabinet.
Oh.
They made, I think, at that point, just for grandmothers, right?
Yeah, right. When you open a bank account, they give you one or whatever. That or a grandfather clock, you pick, right?
Exactly. So this big old monstrosity is sitting in my living room.
Yeah.
So my first job was actually working on a website for a newspaper down in the New London area.
Right.
And I had a third shift. I would get up and go to work at midnight.
Yep.
So there were a couple of days right off the bat where I would get up and I would look in the living room and I'd see that the TV was on. And I'd look at it and I'm a little forgetful. And I'd say, I swore I turned it off before I went to bed, but whatever. So I go and I turn it off. And so this happened 2 or 3 times. So one day I wake up, it's midnight, and I look at it, I'm like, I know for a fact I turned that television off.
Right.
And so I walked over to it, and I bent down to press the button, and I got about 2 inches away from the button, and the TV shuts itself off.
Ooh. They're here. I saw this movie.
So I'm standing there with a chill just running down my spine, staring at this TV, going, what exactly just happened?
Right.
So I fussed and worried about this for days afterwards because it seemed like one of those moments where I was being told that and since we know from the old lady who had passed away, that she was just telling us who owned the television.
Okay.
The conclusion of the story, which kind of makes it more of a funny story than anything else, is it turns out a couple of weeks later, I figured out that it had an auto on-off switch.
Huh.
And when it had been unplugged for a couple of months and then plugged back in, because it was an older style TV, it just had never figured out the time change. And it was turning itself on and off in the middle of the night based on the watching habits of the woman who used to own it. But it definitely gave me an interesting week or two in that apartment where I kept wondering why this TV mattered to this woman who was no longer with us.
Because it's all she had at the end, man. Come on. That's all it was.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Jamie, the TV was just... Yeah.
It didn't help that the living room that it was in, the plaster was falling apart behind the wall. So the wallpaper looked like things were reaching out of it to come get you.
And you're working third shift, so you're not sleeping well anyway. And
Exactly.
yeah, that's good. You know, this would have been a better story if you got sucked into the TV and needed like an exorcism. That would have been a better ending. But it's not for me to judge.
This is the closest thing to paranormal I'll ever say.
Well, I'll take it. Thank you. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jamie. Thanks for making them share it, Lauren.
Hopefully you got fun out of hearing it for 5 minutes, but that's my story.
Good stuff. Thank you, Jamie.
Take care,
Have a good night.
day.
See you guys. I love it. Okay, it's not always paranormal. I get it. Sometimes it's just a weird TV that's got an old timer on it. And that's true, right? Like sometimes something so okay. Oh, I got a story for you. So I was probably 8 years old, right? No, maybe 7, young. And there was a game you older folks like me might remember called Mr. Mouth. Mr. Mouth is a game where there was 4 little hands that flipped chips on a little spring load thing. And this mouth went around and went, right? It would open and close, and you would try to get your colored chips into the open mouth as it was going around. And whoever got all their chips in first or whatever, got the most chips before it shut off, won the round. And so, anyway, kind of a dumb game, but had it on my shelf. One night at like 2 a.m, dead of night, dark, quiet, too quiet. I'm asleep, and suddenly in my closet, and by the way, there is a closet monster. Anyone who says there isn't was never a child. There's a closet monster, and I can't sleep unless the doors are shut. And I made sure the doors were shut before I went to bed. The doors are shut, and suddenly I hear thump. And I screamed. Like, what? Like bloody murder screamed. My dad comes racing into my room because like he's sure like there's someone about to kill me. Open up, turn on the lights, everything, because he hears it too. Like this is not in my head. Right in the closet. And we open it up, and there's the Mr. Mouth game. It must have been teetering all night long. It fell, it hit, it turned itself on and started growling at me from the closet. And there was no more sleep to be had by me that night. So anyway, I just opened the phone lines again, 617-444-9683. If you want to call and share your crazy story, even if it's not totally paranormal, we'll take it because I enjoy hearing from you guys. Yeah. Raylene remembers the game. Yeah, you'd have to be a certain vintage to have played that. My children of the 80s, like, yeah, unite. Am I right? But yeah, some of those games, man. And I used to have a phone on the wall. Oh my God. Same bedroom, same childhood. There was a phone, the old timey phones that was like a mouthpiece and the thing that hung on the side and the little bell, and you would pick it up and hello, and you'd talk into it, and you needed an operator. There was no dialing. I had a phone like that, but it was a reproduction of an old phone. It wasn't an actual antique one or a working one. But at night, because when you're young, you got to go to bed before it's dark out, especially in the summer. It stays light out till like 9:30 at night. So it's the gloaming period, which is when just the light, there's a little bit of light left before the sun's gone. And I used to stare across my room at that stupid freaking phone, and it looked like two eyes and a mouth, and I would just stare at it and stare at it, and I swear the thing was looking back at me, and I was so afraid of this thing. Every night I would be petrified for sundown because I would just stare at it from my bed. And my parents, by the way, before you're thinking like I have these cruel, horrible parents that would just torture me, not at all. Had I said the very first day after, hey, that thing really freaks me out, can we get it out of my room? They would have done it in a heartbeat. Like, no problem. Oh, of course, gone. Don't worry about it. But I think I was embarrassed to say I'm petrified of this phone that's on my wall, and it's supposed to sort of look cool. And it does look cool when all the lights are on in the middle of the day. But at night, the damn thing was a face. And to this day, when I see old phones like that, I still get a shudder because I would stare at it until I think the damn thing stared back at me. Not paranormal, but still frightening for me. Christy says, I had a similar Mr. Mouth incident. There's a horror movie to be made from that game. I think you're right. Like you're playing it and it eats one of the kids, just like in It or something. And then we go from there. Christy, call me. We'll co-write that thing. We'll probably knock it out in like an evening, right? A few drinks and pow, we'll have a horror movie. All right. Who else has a story for us? 617-444-9683. Call and share. Share with your buddy Jeff. Share with your friends. Whoops, here it is. Mary said, I grew up in Alaska. Summer, no closet monster, but winters, yeah, all day. For sure. Yeah, midnight sun and all that. I've been to Alaska. Absolutely beautiful place. I went to Juneau and Sitka and Anchorage and all up the coast and a little bit inland. It was pretty amazing. Beautiful place. Can't recommend it enough. Yeah, Alaska too. And I knew a guy. What was his name? Went was his last name. Wrote a book about haunted Alaska and knew like every haunt in the state. Really great resource. Died a few years ago, sadly. But yeah, we haven't had any callers from Alaska yet. What's up with that? Where are you, Alaska? It's funny when you're a child, what kind of things sort of imprint on you as far as fear that you carry with you the rest of your life. My grandmother used to be petrified of snakes to the point where if you left a piece of yarn on the ground, like just a little string, she would scream. Just everything, would petrify her. And I don't know what it was, but I'm no fan of snakes these days. Now, I don't scream or run, but I see them in my yard from time to time, just little garter snakes, not poisonous or anything. I know that, but boy, I don't like them. I don't like them when they slither by and when they get in my garage. I don't know. I don't like snakes. Like Indiana Jones. It's very Indiana Jones of me, isn't it? Yeah. So the things we're afraid of and the things we don't like to eat and all that other stuff from childhood. Good times. I've noticed some of you have been at some of my library programs, which has been amazing and fun, and appreciate that. I know some of you have been checking in, which is really cool. These programs, I tell various stories, and there's like visuals and audio and all kinds of stuff. A lot of it pulled from my weekly podcast, and it's been a pleasure to be able to share these stories, even if it's only virtually, because God, I miss real live audiences so badly. Charge admission is summer night camp ghost stories. Lots of families will be tenting in their backyards this year. It could be a great addition. Thanks, Deborah. That's a fun idea. And I'll tell you, I showed you guys at the top of the show. This is just upcoming for July. There's a bunch of different programs I have coming up, and all of those are free. You could pop me in the laptop, throw it in the backyard, put the tent out, all good. I love it. Yeah. So how about you guys? How are you coping? How are you coping with the ups and downs of COVID and with quarantine and trying to get back to normalcy and not normal and the new normal? I'd like to hear those stories too, because I think we all have kind of like ups and downs with it. I've been so busy on my house, and again, just boring stuff that is long overdue, like painting things and fixing things and cleaning up sections of the yard. Glad I'm getting to it, but so when I'm busy, I don't worry about it too much. But God, when you're not busy, when you have some idle time, that's when it gets tough. Yeah, for sure. I can relate to this. Rita, there's a gap in between my ceiling and my wall, and had to have the landlord come and attach molding to the ceiling, so she couldn't see eyes staring at you at night anymore, and had to put the molding in the bottom of my walls too. I get it. I totally get it. If there's some like little dark passage where you can see through the wall, that is absolutely scary. Totally get it. All right, guys. Who else has a story? 617-444-9683. Don't be shy. The phone lines are open. Call and say hi to your buddy Jeff. Work. Lots of work. They're working on a vaccine where you work. Hopefully it's a vaccine for, this thing that's got us all locked in, Elizabeth. Would appreciate it. Colleen, yard work and beer. Well, yeah, I said I was doing yard work. Of course there's beer. And the spooky sisters in the UK are coping because they have to. And that's all of us, right? But we miss each other terribly. Can't see the sisters. We can get together once a week and the rules relax a little for now. I get it. I'm doing more like social distance stuff. Like we've had some friends over outside, where you kind of hang out in the yard and stay a few feet away and have a beer or two. And that's helped. Helps a lot. Helps a lot when you just have some sort of connection. These things help me too. Talking to you guys helps keep me sane. And not sober, but sane. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Crystal, you've probably answered this already, but what's the creepiest place you would not want to return to? Hold that thought. We have a call. Hello from the 303. What's your name? Where are you from?
Kelly, I'm from Colorado.
Hey, Kelly from Colorado. Where in Colorado, Rocky Mountain High?
It's Callie.
Oh, Callie.
You haven't met me before.
Yeah, I know that Callie. Callie from Colorado. I thought you said Kelly. Hello, Callie. How are you?
Well, since I told you a spooky story, so I thought I'd call in.
Okay, thank you. I will set this up. Callie and I first met at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, where she was like, you were there forever, right?
Felt like it sometimes.
Yeah. So, and you've got a story for us. Please share away.
I do. And actually, it's not a ghost story, and it's a pretty short one. I know that's shocking to you, because usually my stories take forever. But I was still married at the time. It was years ago. It was before I worked at the Stanley. And my now ex-husband and I were driving to his Christmas party. We were driving along 470, which heads towards the foothills of Colorado. And as we're driving down the highway, all of a sudden, I looked up and I saw this ball of light in the sky. And it was dropping out of the sky really fast, and it was huge. So if you can imagine that stars are, say, the size of a pinpoint.
Right.
This was the size of a basketball. It was that huge.
Yeah.
And it was dropping from the sky so fast. And I leaned forward because I thought that it was about to hit the mountain and explode into a million pieces. And all of a sudden, it got right at the top of the mountains. It stopped. It hovered for a second. And then it just sunk down below the mountain.
Whoa.
And I looked over at my ex-husband, who was a cowboy, did not believe in any of this stuff that I was into. And I looked over at him, and he was also leaning forward in the seat. And I said, "Did you see that?" And he said, "It depends. What did you see?"
It depends.
To this day, it is the only semi-paranormal experience that you can ever get him to talk about and admit to.
That's cool. Yeah, and you've got some clear skies up there and some dark, dark mountains, and my goodness, yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, you never know, right? God, and you think what NORAD is there? Well, it used to be around there, right?
What's that?
NORAD?
NORAD.
Yeah.
Yeah, NORAD is a little bit south of there, but still, I think weird things happen in our skies here in Colorado all the time, and I think some of it is related to NORAD for sure.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Callie, thank you for sharing that. Good to hear from you.
You too. It's nice talking to you.
Let me tell you a secret before you go.
Okay.
Monday night on the Speakeasy, my guest is Robert Murch, the triumphant comeback.
Very nice.
Yes. So
I saw him yesterday across the backyard.
Well, good deal. Well, I'm glad that he's up and about and ready to do interviews again. So merch is coming on Monday.
He looks great. I'm off. That's awesome. I'll be listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Callie.
Talk to you later.
All right. See ya. Aw, thanks, Callie. All right. The phone lines are open again, 617-444-9683. And we got a story here from Connecticut. I've been out of work since March 13th. I feel you. I do. And probably won't be returning till either sometime in September, October. Drinking water. I totally get it. I too have been out of work for months, and I'm fortunate that I can, I've been self-employed for years, so I've learned to save money when times are good, because sometimes times go lean and you need to lean on it. But, and I'm fortunate too that I can work on things that don't necessarily pay me right now, but hopefully might pay off in the future, like working on books and stuff. So trying to make the most of it, but I totally get it. It's hard not working. It's hard not having that sense of purpose every day that you wake up and you're like, I got to go do this thing because it's important to somebody, we tie so much of our value and our worth to our jobs. And I know that's not right, because we're more than that. We're all more than our jobs. We're human beings that, do so much. But still, I get it. When that element's missing, it's tough for some of us to feel whole. Tricky stuff. All I can say is please hang in there. We will get through this, all of us. And yeah, Amanda Lawson, Greg's got his whole family here, doesn't he? Well, shoot. Thanks, Greg, and the whole Lawson clan. We'll have time for like one more call if someone wants to sneak one in. And Kathy likes to spend more time with her dogs. Yeah, I wonder what our pets think, or what will they think when we all have to go back to some sort of normalcy. Yeah. My son Tim and I are seeing black shadows in our rooms at night, but it doesn't scare us. There a reason why? You don't feel threatened. Hello from the 603, which would be New Hampshire. Who's this?
This is Marianne.
Hey, Marianne. What's going on tonight?
Nothing. Jeff was talking about asking folks to call in, so I'm calling in.
Yay, calling in. Well, lower the volume in the back because you're going to get a horrible echo.
Okay, will do.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm just hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit. How about you? I can hear me in the background, through this.
I'm looking for my volume.
We're going to have this crazy, we're going to go into a time loop.
We are in a time loop, I can tell already.
So what's going on tonight?
So you were asking for sort of weird, spooky, scary stories.
Please.
So this is what happened when I was a kid. Now, let me explain. When I was a child, I had really bad eyesight.
Okay.
So I wore really thick glasses, and I would take them off at night, of course, to go to bed. And, if things were happening outside, I'd have to fumble for my glasses to put them on, to find the light. So anyway, so it was midsummer, and I had my windows open, and I'm seeing these green flashing lights outside. And I'm thinking, what in the world is this? And they're all over the place. They're up in the trees, they're down on the lawn, they're outside the road, they're, everywhere, and they blink and flash, and I'm freaking out because I'm a little kid, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? So I go downstairs with a flashlight, and I wake up my parents, and I'm like, what is this? I don't get it. There's weird lights going on. So my dad gets up, and he looks out the window, and he says, those are fireflies.
Damn it.
No, I was hoping we were getting aliens, but no, it's just fireflies.
Oh,
you really need to put on your glasses.
Fireflies and poor eyesight. You know what? It's a good thing I wasn't your dad. I probably would have messed with you pretty bad.
Well, that might have happened too. But,
yeah.
Yeah. So that's my spooky. I mean, I have spooky stories, but
I love it.
That was the firefly story.
Yeah, sometimes, right? It's just the weirdest thing, and then you're like, "What is it?" And then your brain starts running with it, and then next thing you know,
exactly.
It's fireflies.
You've got aliens in your backyard.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, Jeff.
All right.
See you soon.
Have a good night. All right. I think we can squeeze in one more. Who's got a quick story to share? 617-444-9683. Lee said this pandemic has given me COVID curves and a virus. I get it. Hey, well done. I've been trying to be better, because for the first month, I'm like, I'll just eat whatever, whenever, because whatever, we're in a pandemic. I'll have sandwiches and chocolate and cookies. And so that wasn't doing well. And so I've been trying to get back to exercising regularly again and all that kind of stuff. Because shoot, you can't stay in that mode forever. Trying, but I feel you on the butt getting a little bigger. We're trying. Am I right? We're totally trying. Yeah. So good stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for spending the night with me. If we don't have another caller, we can just kind of, hey, it's Goose. I know he's got stories, but he's scared to call. Yeah, it's July 4th weekend. I'm bummed because usually this is a really fun weekend. We go to fireworks and barbecues and picnics and all kinds of stuff. And now it's just going to be, the fam home, which is great, but the fam's been home for months. We've had each other's company, and now it feels a little bit stuck. So I'm kind of bummed to be missing all that. And I think we needed, the United States especially, we need a day to come together over something, because it's been a lot of dividing for a long, long time. And I wish we could have it this year, just to be like, hey, maybe we can set that aside and just sort of celebrate this place where we live. All right, one more call. Let's do it. Hello from the 508. That would be Massachusetts. What's your name? Who's this?
Hi, this is Jan.
Hi, Jan. Please lower the volume in the back. We're going to have horrible feedback.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
My son with autism is also sitting next to me.
Oh, no problem. I thought I heard me behind you, so no problem. What's going on?
So, I know you guys are talking about experiences.
Yep.
As a little girl, my grandmother lived in the two-room apartment upstairs, and she passed away when I was 7.
Okay.
And so my dad basically just didn't use the upstairs. There were 4 of us young kids. I was the oldest. And a couple of years later, he decided to start using the upstairs again. He was eventually going to do some renovations up there. And I would go up there occasionally. I was probably about 9 or 10. And I would go upstairs and I would smell her perfume. I was very, very close to my grandmother.
Right.
And I would go in there and I would smell her perfume. Not her perfume, her cold cream. She used Pond's cold cream.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I would smell it and it would freak me out, and I would come running down the stairs, and my dad would get mad. He'd be like, "Why are you running down the stairs like that?" And I'm like, "No reason," because I didn't want to tell anybody, because I thought they'll think I'm crazy. And then I would go up there and she would cook those Vienna sausages for me.
Yeah, okay.
They came in a can.
Oh,
beans,
yeah.
and I would smell like the sausages and beans cooking.
Yeah.
And again, I would just come flying down the stairs, like absolutely scared to death. And then I sometimes I would just feel weird vibes upstairs in the house.
Sure.
And it just really freaked me out as a kid. And I never told anybody until I got much, much older. And turns out that my parents added on 3 rooms so I could move upstairs with my kids a few years after I got married. And my daughter started having experiences too when she was about 10.
Wow. That's interesting. In the family, and in the same house. I smell is so closely tied to memory. It's such a trigger, right? You smell something and you have it triggers a memory. It puts you back in a place. So, and that's
and it scared me to death.
No, of course.
She's been gone. Why am I smelling this?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that people forget when you talk about ghost experiences. Everybody thinks about seeing a ghost or hearing a ghost, maybe even sensing a ghost, but smelling is such a common thing. Smelling the phantom cigar, grandpa's stogie, grandma's perfume, the lilacs, whatever is tied to a specific person, it happens, right? It happens. People smell it, and there you are.
And it never, like, I didn't know about any of that until I was much older, probably in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I never mentioned it to my daughter, and so she kind of went through the same thing as I did, feeling frightened.
Yeah.
And not understanding what was happening. And it wasn't until much later, and then we found out my dad had some experiences too. So, yeah, we've had a lot of experiences here at the house.
Very cool. Well, thank you for calling and sharing that. I appreciate it.
All right.
Have a great night.
Have a great night.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. That's it. We're going to keep the lines closed. I'm pretty much out of beer here, so we're going to have to send this thing off into the sunset. Yeah, July 4th weekend. Let me just finish that thought. We do need a reason to come together. Every day we should try to find a reason to come together. But maybe however your feelings about how things are going, or which political party's right or which one's wrong or whatever, maybe just remember we all live in the same country here in the US, and it's home, and it's worth celebrating. It's worth blowing some candles out on a cake. Even if we can't go shoot off fireworks or go to a big celebration, it's still a birthday, and let's try to remember that. Let's see what we can do about coming together and celebrating all the good parts of this great land we live in. And it is great. There's a lot going on that's great. You can focus on the negative. Of course, there's negative stuff happening here, as there is everywhere. But let's try to focus on the good stuff. Maybe even tomorrow. Take a break. Turn the news off all day tomorrow and just focus on the good things that you like. And maybe that'll carry over into the next day. I can only hope. But either way, I do very much appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me tonight, keeping me company, having a drink with me, whatever you were drinking. Oh, good times. I hope you'll see me at one of my upcoming shows. I hope you guys will be safe and be kind. And I hope more than anything that until next time, you do indeed take it easy.